Here's just some of the engineering disciplines that are possible. So we have civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, aerospace engineers. We have industrial engineers, we have construction engineers, we have bioengineers. And so when I want you to think about like construction engineers, you might think, well, what do they do? Well, when you're building these projects, back to engineers build the projects, we do build them, but there's a lot of things associated with building it that's a specialty. So a lot of people call it construction management, but also there are construction engineers. And so they make sure that things like the cranes, how the cranes work, and how safe the lifts are, and how you form concrete. You may not think about it, but the concrete, when it's wet, is very heavy and it's pushing out on those forms. So a lot of times you have accidents in construction where the forms fail. So I just want you to see you could go to the field for your whole life and just build projects as an engineer, if that's what you like. If you do that for 10 years and you want to come back, you can do that. So next slide. So I'm a civil engineer. A lot of times people say structural engineer. So my specialty was steel and concrete, but civil engineers do water treatment, they do sewage treatment, they do roads, they do bridges, they do reservoirs and dams. So it's a pretty wide field that they participate in. Mechanical engineers do cars, HVAC systems, prosthetics, industrial piping systems. Let me stop there a minute. The average power plant has 80,000 feet of pipe that's bigger than 2.5 inches around. Another 80,000 feet less than 2.5. All that pipe has to be designed to the heat and the loading conditions we see. It all has to be hung, and it has to be able to stay there under operating conditions. So mechanical engineers lay out all the pumping systems, the heaters, the tanks, and all the piping associated with that. Next slide. Chemical engineers, pharmaceuticals, water treatment. Even though we have civils doing water treatment, when you look at the chemical reactions that happen in a water treatment plant, that's chemical engineers that take care of that. I'll give you an example that a long time ago, when I was here, one of our teachers gave this example of a water treatment plant. And when you do sewage treatment, there's a big stir that goes around. And so there was a bunch of tests done at the university, and they said that you should stir it for 15 minutes. So the engineer said, well, if 15 minutes is good, we'll make it 30 minutes. And then the plant operator said, well, if 30 minutes is good, we'll make it 45 minutes. So it wasn't working right. So then the operators asked the engineer, and the engineer asked the university done the testing, and they said that the ideal time was between 10 and 20 minutes. Anything outside that wouldn't work. And the reason I want you to understand, it's very important that you understand what the parameters are, and that you understand that more isn't always better and less isn't always better. And that's kind of how I think what engineering is. It's understanding that whole practical approach to how we build things. Next one. Electrical engineers. A lot of times for Black Veatch, we think about power. So we make power with generators. So if you think about your car has a little generator, alternator. Well, these are huge generators, and we drive them with steam, or we drive them with a jet engine, and we make electricity. Then we have to send that electricity all around the world. So they design the transmission lines and the substations that do that. But they're also the ones that do computers and phones and all those fun things that we all enjoy. Aeronautical engineers, of course they design aircraft, spacecraft, missiles. They do control systems for aircraft. So, and I think, there's a big program here. There's a big program, Wichita State, that's related to that industry. Next. So then I wanted to talk a little bit about the variety of what engineers do. So not all engineers sit at a desk with a calculator all day long. Most of us start there, but people branch off into do things like sales and marketing. They do research and development. We have department managers. We have project managers. We have project controls to control the schedule. We have division managers. and we have presidents. So, and so the other thing I worry about is that there's only 20% or 22% of our graduates are women out of our schools in engineering. So I want you to understand that it's a profession that women can do very well and they can exceed at. So when I got promoted from production to this new job, Sherry Blauwinkle replaced me as head of production for energy. So she's over 2,600 people. And recently, Cindy Wallace-Lage, who has her undergrad degree from K-State and her master's from KU, just became the president of our water division, which is 2,500 people. So everyone has a chance to be successful in this variety, and you have a chance to do things other than just detailed design. So, next. What else can you do? Well, you could be a teacher. You know, when I started, I said I was going to major in math and teach, but some of my greatest times at work is when I get to teach. I'm sure Dean Bell and his staff, you know, enjoy the teaching. So you could be a teacher. You can go to law school. We have several lawyers that are engineers because there's a lot of technical issues, and having that law degree and the engineering degree makes you kind of a special commodity. You can go to med school. You can run your own company. There's a lot of CEOs because engineers are trained to solve problems. So it makes you prepared to run business because that's what it's all about, solving problems. So what can you do to prepare for this career? First, you do have to have basic math and science. So next slide. Algebra, geometry, trig, and calculus. That's kind of the path. The one thing about engineering, you have to take things in a certain order, or else it'll take you longer to finish. So you have to be very careful that you get the right classes in the right order. Next. And it's not just about math. It also includes physics and chemistry and biology, depending on the specialty you pick. Next. And you need to be well-rounded. Probably because I went to a small school, I have a lot of philosophy and history and theology, which at the time I thought weren't going to be of any use to me as an engineer. And I can remember when I was forced to take technical writing, and I thought I wouldn't need that. And when I was forced to take speech, I thought I wouldn't need that. And as I went through my career, I found more and more that all I do is speak and write. And so it's okay for a while not to have those, but you need to embrace that broad range because eventually you're going to be in a position where you're managing other people. Next. What else can you do? There's a lot of programs around the state. There's the academy out west at Hayes for juniors and seniors. There's Project Lead the Way. There's First Robotics. There's First Robotics. There's engineering camps for girls. So all these programs can help you get an idea of what engineering is. Or if you have any way to get to an engineering company, we have career days that you could see what engineers do. How can I get information? Teachers, counselors, parents, job shadow. All those things help you to see if you like it. It's hard to understand. I didn't really understand what an engineer until I was an engineer, and I worked for a while. So I think it's important. It's been exciting every day of my life. 37 years I've been at Black Veatch, and every day has been exciting for me. So I want you to understand that. Next. So this education is your future. The average starting salary of engineers is between $55,000 and $65,000. That's just with the BS. So, when you're thinking about the future, this education puts you on track for a good future. The other thing is, what can we do to help our communities and the environment? So we support a lot of things. We support Engineers Without Borders. The university has a program like that where we send engineers to other countries to do projects. Black Veatch supports that. So here you can see one where we went to Tanzania and we put up solar panels so this school could have electricity. We do a lot on the coast where we do beach cleanup, so we let our people go for a day, and they pick up all the trash. We do that all through the country. We have another program we call Christmas in October, where like 600 of our engineers go rebuild houses for older people or people who can't afford to fix their houses up. So there's a lot of ways, once you're an engineer and you have all those tools, to help the community. And finally, you know, like when I said about me not going into engineering, in '69, you had a downturn in aerospace program and in petrochemical, and that's why those counselors thought that. But everything cycles. So, you know, yesterday isn't today. Everything's a lot different. When I went to school here, I didn't even have a calculator. I had a slide rule because it hadn't been developed yet. Now everybody has a computer. So you can see yesterday's not today. Today won't be tomorrow. But the difference from tomorrow will be what you all do to make tomorrow better for all of us. So thank you very much.